Hello and welcome everybody to Absolutely Marvel and DC. DC. I don't know why I said it like that.
Absolutely Marvel and Deceased. We're going to talk about that.
We are going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of The Flash since it has come back from the hiatus. He is Hassan. I am Dan. We're going to jump on into this. So the first episode that we had with this one, immediately coming back, I believe the last arc was Armageddon, and they resolved everything there. The first one back had nothing to do with the Flash. It was all about his kids. Mm-hmm. And overall, it took me, I don't know about you, but I was watching the first little, before I give like an actual summary of what happened, I was watching the first bit, and I felt like I had missed something massive. I thought like maybe Flash had died and I just forgot somehow, because I don't recall them explaining why it was fully just the kids. But anyway, a summary of the episode of this first one. It is both of his kids, Impulse and
XS.
XS, is that what she goes by now?
She goes by XS, but she is XS. The one African American speedster from the comics. They gave Barry's black daughter that name. Because that makes the most sense.
I mean, of course.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's basically just those two going on a little journey of kind of their experience with changing the timeline and trying to figure out how to not change it. We've got Impulse meeting Avery. Avery in the comics does become the Chinese Justice League, their Flash. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the episode. Like, it's just them going through stuff and trying to figure out like what are fixed points in time, what are variables in time, and
how this doesn't relate to the time travel we established in Legends of Tomorrow, which takes place in the same universe, not even a little bit. They even reference Booster, who apparently has appeared in... Which I didn't know, and I got very excited to see, because I love that actor from Scrubs, and I'm very excited for Booster Gold, because he's camp, man. And all these shows are very campy now. They're not serious. Unless you're Superman and Lois, no one's taking you seriously anymore. We're going to have fun with you. If that's Guy's Booster Gold, I can't wait.
I really hope that it does well enough with the audience that we get a Zach Braff and Donald Faison as Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. That would be the best series ever. Anyway, that is off.
Zach Braff. Fuck Blue Beetle. Okay, no,
Are
Ted
you kidding
Blue
me?
Beetle. You could make him Ted Cord Blue Beetle. I was thinking Jaime Reyes, and I was like, you crossed the line, Dan. Sholo Marduina is Blue Beetle for us these days.
I'm thinking Ted Cord Blue Beetle, the original blue and gold combo.
You mean Dan Gates, the original Blue Beetle? Because there's 3 of them.
Oh my god!
I know that because of Young Justice. It's fine, but yeah, it was an interesting episode for sure to go back and first episode. Barry's still in his coma. So this all took place before, and because it took a second, I watched these episodes with my girlfriend, who was a huge Flash fan back in the day. Stopped watching at season 4, and she was like, "Oh, you want to watch this for work?" I was like, "Yeah, I got to film a video later." She's like,
"You're like, so fun." Yeah, okay.
She said, "She's like, oh my god, I'd love to revisit this. I love this back in the day." And then she was like, "Husband, can you please turn this off?" So I had to wake up really early and watch these this morning. We watched all of that one episode, and she was like, "What the fuck was that?"
I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all, because during all of these episodes, you know, if you've watched our review shows, especially when it's me, it's never got an order. I jump around endlessly.
It's pretty everywhere.
I feel like all 3 of these episodes, The Flash writes for 30-minute episodes, and then they throw filler in. Because if you remove a lot of the filler, these episodes are amazing.
Yeah,
like
they're not bad at all.
Yeah, like once you get out of like the cringy awkwardness that they put in to just kind of stretch out some scenes and stuff like that, when you get just the core plot points, it's a great show.
And you cut out the D plot points. Like, you know, we'll get back to this later, but in the 3rd episode, I don't care what Allegra's doing.
Yes.
I'll talk about that scene later, because that scene is one I want to address start to finish because it makes no sense from a writing standpoint. And guys, I know I'm new to doing this, The Flash. If you guys haven't seen me on Superman Lois, Young Justice here. I'm here. I'm doing a bunch of things now, but I'm such an old school Flash fan. I've been watching The Flash. I've been watching Arrow since the night it premiered, and up until 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, I never missed an episode the day it aired of all the shows minus Batwoman, and I'm not going to apologize for that. Other than Batwoman, I never missed a single one of the episodes, but I fell off pretty hardcore. There's multiple reverse Flash rings in my house. That's the level of dedication we have here. There's Starlab sweatshirts in my closet.
Hold on, just reverse Flash or the Flash?
I have one Flash ring and 2 reverse Flash rings.
I think we know what side Hassan's on, guys.
Oh, come on. Tom Cavanaugh, that's the side I'm on. The greatest actor to ever
you know
live.
what? That guy is a fantastic actor.
So fun. But
in all of his various roles of the same person. Anyway.
Literally, me and my girlfriend talked about that endlessly because she's like, where's Tom Cavanaugh? And I was like, baby, I got some news for you. He actually left the show.
He's like, left the show. However, there's probably a good chance he'll show back up again.
Left the show. However, the first 5 episodes are about him. He literally just left immediately. But yeah, I wanted to give you guys a little background because I know sometimes I've watched reviews of shows I was excited about, and there was a negative Nancy on the cast who was just like, I hate this show, and it kind of ruined my experience. And then I resented them for a little bit. So I love The Flash. I love Grant Gustin. I love Carlos Valdez. I love Daniel Panabaker, Jesse L. Martin, Oscar-worthy actor. The rest of them are there. They're on the show too. I like Chester P. Runk a lot, actually. I think he's funny.
Chester has grown on me. Yeah, he's got his moments where you're like,
come on, Chester. Come on, P. Runk.
But that most of his time is like, he was a good swap in for vibe.
Yeah, he was.
For Cisco. That's what
I'm having a good time revisiting the show. I kind of was just going to, when it ended, I was like, I'll binge everything and catch up. But now that I'm here, I'm watching dailies again. But it was fun for me, for my first step back into Flash, to watch a little bit of a rewind because Eddie Thawne was in it. And I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
Except, did he forget how to act? Does Rick Cosnett not know how to act? Because it was it's like if you ever watched a Disney Channel show back in the day when they'd have a crossover or a guest star and you'd bump into him and be like, hey, what are you doing here? And then it pauses and they kind of smile at each other and the laugh track's going, hey, and they just stare at each other for a while. He did that every scene. He smiled like a crazy person the whole time.
I feel like you could kind of tell there was some hesitance behind his acting where he is very aware that there has been so much in the Flash universe since he was last on it, so many tonal changes and stuff from when he was in it.
When it was a real serialized, well thought out TV show before. Yeah, exactly. Which it's not fun, but it's camp now.
Yeah, I think there was just that part of him that looked kind of how did I play Eddie? It's almost like he forgot just how he did act and didn't want to go too much to the other side. So he just kind of did too much of nothing.
Yeah. No, literally, that was exactly my girlfriend's take. She was like, does he just not know? I said, does he not know how to act? And she was like, maybe he's just trying to be who he was. And I was thinking, he was in it for 1 season. I think he can remember what he did for a year. But also, I think you're right. I think it's the tonal shift. Flash is more of a funny, ha-ha, jokey show with random bits of very deep depression followed by oh my God, we like each other, Chester and whatever. They're just going back and forth, for a minute. So he's just trying to smile. He's acting like he's in Full House now for no reason. And
right.
We're rolling with it. Other than that, I like seeing him on screen. I always had a little soft spot for Eddie. Some people used to show panels of him in Cobalt Blue next to each other from the comics. And I was like, oh man, what if they bring Eddie Thawne back? And they never did, but I'm glad to see him again.
Anything's possible with the Flash.
When we got to Avery Ho, I looked over my girlfriend's shoulder. We were watching it on a phone. I was like, hey, this is an Asian person, and they've already done Linda Park. So if this is Avery Ho, I'm going to put my head through a wall. And obviously, it was an Asian character, so it was immediately Avery Ho, the Flash of China. And I was like, why? How about you? No one ever addresses this, but Jessie Quick was killed on this show and never came back. She died. We lost one of our main speedsters. Maybe just bring her back instead of doing this. But hey, she was fun. Her scenes with Bart were really, really fun.
I was going to say, chemistry. Yeah, that actress did a great job of just the excitement in her character was just so genuine that I really enjoyed those scenes, excluding, frankly, Bart is just a little a little cringe for me.
Yeah, just a little bit. Here's the thing. Let me fix them immediately. Let me fix everything they've ever done on screen. They're younger. Like, instead of Nora being 30, she's 17. Bart is 16, 15. Then it all makes sense. Because
are you referring to the actors?
No,
because I think they're trying to imply that that's how old they are.
No, they're 30. She says she's 30. At some point, she literally mentions that she is 30 during the last arc she was in. She said that she was 30 years old, which it's like, huh? What?
I must have misheard. I thought it had been 30 years since.
Nope, she is, because she was. So I will. While we're summing up the next episode, I'll look up and double check me. But I'm fairly certain, like, Nora Allen is in her 30s.
Interesting. I will say, though, I did like the one thing that I really like about Avery Ho and the fact that they've used her is the fact that they used her in the past. They used her setting up this time travel stuff, and they put her in a time period that it will make perfect sense for them to use her as an official cast member.
Yes.
Like, they can easily go, Flash does something and she shows up and she's like, I met your son from the future. Or like, I met another speedster from the future. I helped him do this. Like, I've got this. I'm here to help you with it. And it's like, you've already set up that character, given her a reason to be aware of time travel, speedsters, and all of that. Good. That like, you've got this character in the background now that when you need something, it's already been established. And I'm really excited to see what they do with her, because I just really like that actress. I thought she did a really good job.
She was the highlight of that episode for me.
Hands down.
Literally, because we started to skim a little bit where it was like the meta, like the Royal Flush Gang scene, and I was like, I'm not watching this. And I skipped it because it literally was no consequence to the episode at all whatsoever. Yeah. Like, it had nothing to do with it. But Avery Ho scenes were great. Can confirm. So when she first came back in season 5, she was 25 years old because she was coming from 2045. Now she's coming from 2049. So she's 29 to 30 years old. Yep.
And she acts like, I guess that's the problem, is we want her to be the age that she is acting like she is.
Yes. Because I think it'd be so, because when she first meets Barry and Iris at their wedding on Crisis on Earth X, bumps into him like, hey, sorry, big day. Like that actress has so much charisma and charm if you age her character down. Now, if it's a 30-year-old woman who's like, Mom and Dad, why don't you love me? And her eyes turn red and she's got the negative speed force, I have problems. But if it's a 17-year-old, okay.
It makes sense.
It's Jonathan Kent on Superman and Lois. It's Jordan Kent on Superman and Lois. So it makes more sense. We have to speed along because I realize we're still on the first episode and we're 12 minutes in. We have to get
okay. Anyway, first episode, it's all of that. They conclude it. They basically set up the fact that when you time travel, there are fixed points, there are variations that you can change, and we've got
which on Legends of Tomorrow, there literally is a word for it. They're called anachronisms, and they go through how to fix them and what they are and whatever. But
God, if only time travelers talk to each other.
Hey, before people get at us in the comments, and by us I mean the two on screen, not me, Dylan, who's editing this, they're not caught up on Legends of Tomorrow. I vaguely am. Fixed points are a thing in Legends. Also, I'm not caught up on The Flash, which is why I'm not in this episode. So I don't even know fully what they're talking about, but through context clues, just get out of the comments.
Okay. Episode 2. Wow, I really should have pulled these up before we started, because we talked so much about that I have already forgotten what happened in...
I remember 3 very well. Then the one in the middle, I'm like gone on. I have no idea what happened.
I can't fully remember. So Dylan,
Flash reveals himself to Kramer, I think, right?
Oh, yes. It was the entire Kramer episode. That's right. I actually did enjoy that. I'm liking that Kramer... I like that we're moving away from the she's just an evil person, and we're more going into, hey, we're going to get a new we're going to get a new meta that can be used throughout the show. And I really like that we're doing it through a character that can absorb other people's powers, because I think there's so much potential behind that. There's so much you can do. There are so many story arcs that already exist around that concept that the ideas are limitless. But anyway, in that episode, they're at the police precinct. I want to say his name is Goldface shows up. He is trying to... I love that character. For the record.
I do too. The actor's fun. They're
He's
so fun.
So
He's having the
fun.
time of his life.
He's so fun.
He does not take himself even 1% seriously. It's awesome.
No, and that's what makes him so good at his role. And like that. Anyway, it's a bunch of stuff happens in standard comic book fashion, and it just concludes with us going, hey, she knew that Barry Allen was the Flash. He's going to train her to control her powers. That's not touched on at all in the third episode, but that's beside the point.
She's, in fact, not even referenced once.
Yeah, not a single time.
He says, let me go get this to Captain Kramer, and that's it.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That is the one reference that they have to her. But anyway, that is episode 2. Not too much really to say, except the fact that Goldface kind of carried that episode, and the Kramer redemption arc. I'm excited to see where it goes. I just hope they don't do what CW would do and have her turn on them later, or do the whole "I know better than you do" and
Barry, I have the powers, and then she's gonna absorb a bunch of speeches and be the main villain for 3 episodes, and then the Reverse Flash shows up. Right? It's like that's basically how we do things on the show.
That's exactly how it goes.
I like the character of Kramer. I think that the show's fundamental flaw has been what it has been since the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. They keep adding cast members while losing significance of others, and then they have a huge cast of people, and they're constantly referring to 30 people, but shows have budgets. You cannot have the actress who plays Kramer on the next episode,
right? Because
you used her all this episode, and you have 30 other cast members to pay, and that is hurting the show. And it's not going to change. I think they just got renewed for 9. They just confirmed season 9 is coming out. So, it's not going to change. So we have to live with this. Hopefully next season is going to be more bombastic, because I assume it will be the final season.
Right.
Cross my fingers. Love the show, but that Flash IP needs to be freed up to be on a HBO Max show at some point.
Definitely. No, definitely.
And maybe even as Grant Gustin. I wouldn't mind a little reboot. That could be fun. But they're really having trouble balancing cast members. Your cast members' significance, their powers, what they can do. Every scene, every episode changes writer to writer. Like Barry, he's like, I've leveled up as the Flash, and he's super powerful. And then it's like, dude, would you run? Could you run over there? But we're going into this 3rd episode. I'll do the quickie
before we go, because I actually wanted to quickly comment on the whole 30 cast members thing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's actually what makes her ability to mimic other powers so much better, because I feel like instead of their normal thing of kind of, hey, we got to make this person a bigger deal, so we got to make the powers better and more powerful, I feel like Kramer and her abilities allow her to be more of a highlight, more of a accentuate this person and their powers, as opposed to overshadowing other people and their powers. And that's why I think there's a lot of potential behind that character. But CW's shown that they don't necessarily know what to do with potential. I will let you.
I was going to say, that actress is great. She's incredible, too. I'm excited. Like, her and Jesse L. Martin had some cool scenes together in the previous episodes and stuff, because I think he is... I don't think this is disrespectful to anybody on the cast. He's the best actor on that cast, and everyone will acknowledge that. He's incredible.
Which one?
Jesse L. Martin, Joe West.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Because every time you'll notice, they'll be having a campy episode, they'll get the Joe scene, the lighting changes. Like, they're like putting a little bit more work into it, because he's going to drop a monologue that's going to be a little soundbite on YouTube that's going to get 1 million views and promo The Flash. So, going from there into our next episode, this is the one I watched most recently. You have a fire... So it opens with this thing that made me wonder, did I miss an episode? Because Barry looks at the calendar, and then Iris looks at the calendar while Barry's being a little grumpy, and she's like, oh, well, we can just stay in tonight. He goes, it's okay. I just got to get used to it. It's like, okay, interesting. I screenshotted the calendar during I was watching on my phone, zoomed into it. Not one thing on that calendar explained what it was. I thought they had a date. Like, here's the day so-and-so died. It said Barry goes to the dentist. They have a block party. Iris has meeting. It's like the most brain dead count. I read the whole calendar. It was so stupid. But Barry's upset about something. We go into the episode. He's missing his dad. And you go in, and there's a fire meta who burns someone alive. Mysterious person gets burned alive. And this guy who does a Jack Black impression for the next 42 minutes. That's literally... Look what he was... Like, do you see
that is exactly what he did. Oh, my gosh.
Come on, son. Gotta go to the Kiss concert. Yeah. I'll get you backstage passes, boy. And it's like so camp. And the kid is like, I hate you, Dad. Well, Dad, you're like a screw up. You're the worst father. Like, you're literally a loser. Like, it was so, this kid was a theater kid for sure. And this is his first role and he's having fun with it.
Yeah.
He's owning it. But you have a sympathetic meta towards Barry. They arrest him. Barry's going all detective, and obviously Team Flash is against them because we need an antagonist for this episode. And Barry's trying to find the truth of, is this Meta the real villain of the episode? And that is the entire episode. And then resolution, he's not, but they don't know who it is. They have their Barry moment where he, what do you call it? He gets to sit down with Joe and talk about his dad, which they retconned a bunch of stuff in that scene. I don't know how aware you were of it. In season 1, episode 1 of The Flash, when Joe goes to find Barry, he goes, that's my daughter's friend from school. As in, that's as much as he knows Barry's family. And this one, they imply they went to baseball games together. They used to drink together. They were good friends. He used to talk to him all the time. So, hey, retcon, fun retcon. That could be explained away via Flashpoint. Yeah. Fine.
I was going to say, I mean,
Flashpoint, reverse
their easy
Flashpoint.
Excuse, hey, time travel.
Ralph Dibny was dead in the first season, and then he was alive, and now he's canceled.
Yeah.
So he's gone.
God, why did
R.I.P.
Anyway.
I love that actor. I actually loved him on the show, so I do miss his presence every once in a while.
Same.
But yeah, it's a really, so for me, I didn't realize how much the show has gotten away from serialization. These are very one-off, campy, fun, here's the story, here's the resolution kind of shows. I don't dislike it. I think that Flash lost a lot of its, emotional serialized resonance after seasons 1 and 2 and then like 3. That I'm okay with this being the route they go. I think this is a really great cast of fun actors. So let's have fun moments. Let's lean into the humor of it. Let's lean into the cool power little set pieces without having us to think too much into like, why didn't he do this sooner? Why does Iris have powers? Why? Why? Because it's going to drive us crazy. So watching this and thinking this is just for fun, I had a really good time watching this episode. It was corny. You had the Killer Frost talking about, for my new year, I'm going to forgive Mark, which is her boyfriend apparently, and everyone just rolls their eyes at her. I thought that was really, or maybe that was the end of Armageddon. I watched those last night, but the show's camp. It's very campy. It's really fun, and I'm having a good enough time with it. The episode ends with the kid going from, Dad, I hate you, Daddy, you're my superhero. Oh my goodness, Dad, you're so cool. You stopped the bad guy. You're a hero now. It's like, dude, you hate this dude. Like, you hate him. That's not how it works.
I gotta ask. So going through that episode, I thought it was the son. Yeah. I thought the son was the killer.
The whole time. Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't just because it's like, oh, of course he would inherit the same powers. Like, he clearly doesn't like his dad. Maybe he's trying to set him up so he goes back to prison. Like, but then that ending is like, oh, wait.
Bro, they get Blake Neely to make a brand new track from the soundtrack because they've been recycling audio. They're like, hey, we need you to do something new. We have a serial killer on the loose, which nothing they did implied that it was a serial killer. But very exciting. I like the music. I like the intrigue. The biggest issue is that when you have Oracle, God's Eye, whatever Star Labs is with their satellites that monitor literally everything, you take a lot of the intrigue away. And I hope that they find a way to narratively make a little bit more sense. And the Star Labs satellites are still broken from, which I think they did that. I think they had that storyline for a whole season.
Yeah, they did have they were broken and
because it crashed to Earth during the battle with the Thinker. I forgot. Whoops. But I hope they find a reason to make it make sense and do some cool stuff. The only last thing I wanted to touch on was Central City Citizen, the Allegra storyline. It feels like I'm watching 12-year-olds act. Simply, it feels like I'm watching a child do, or I'm watching a high school improv production is what it feels like. It's miserable and uncomfortable. And her whole scene where she walks away from the influencer, which, by the way, I am one of those. That is by definition my job because I have whatever. And I was like, it's fair. I don't think you should have an influencer shallow story, but they kept using the word influencer aggressively, and they made the girl a shallow airhead. And I'm like, you could play devil's advocate and make it show that this girl, instead of her being Allegra's villain at Central City Citizen, she's like an intelligent reporter who there is more depth to this girl. I'm a YouTuber. I do a bunch of nonsensical whatever stuff all the time, but I do think I also work on a lot of nonprofits and I work for a lot of charity work and stuff like that. So you could have played devil's advocate, but you made it, this woman's an airhead, this reporter is evil, and then Allegra gets up, goes, hey, Lydia, what's up? And then Lydia immediately, the scene makes no sense. She's like, so you forgot about us? This is literally her first time seeing you. Did you call her when you left prison? Did you literally say, like, there's no implication they've spoken at all, but she's like, my life is so bad and it's your fault. But there's nothing you could have done. Wait, so which is it? Like, which is it? It's the most mind-numbing scene I've watched in my life. Like, I want to do like a whole rhetorical breakdown of the writing of it, of like why this makes no sense. There's no sense at all. But it ends on a note of, now Allegra has her villain to face. She's like, I will destroy you. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Every single time she comes up, I go, so what's on Reddit right now?
Literally.
I'll watch it. I need something.
I will edit a Mickey Mouse TikTok right now. Let's see.
Yeah,
it's very, very mind-numbing. And the actress is fine. I think Kayla Compton is fine. She doesn't get good material. I think Candice Patton is actually a great actress. I think she lacks fundamental charisma with all of her acting partners. Like, I don't think her scenes with Joe are emotionally resonant outside of what Joe does. She clearly has no chemistry with Grant Gustin. I don't even think she had chemistry with Eddie Thawne, Rick Cosnett back in the day.
Right.
Because someone brought up like how much more Barry and Linda Park, and then Barry and Patty Spivot. And I was like, they had like electric.
Barry and Patty. What? Can we bring her back?
Can we just
Patty back?
Kill Iris West? It's okay. She can go. She's done her time.
We don't need to kill her. You can
divorce them. You have to kill her though.
No, the weird time thing. Send her off to be lost in time.
No, but if Patty's back, I want her to be with Barry.
No. I'm saying Iris gets lost in time because they are giving her weird time powers.
Yeah, but
did you see that?
If she's not dead and gone in a fixed point, Barry's gonna be like, I have to go back to save Iris.
Okay. Yeah,
so
you know what? I'll give you that.
Write her off. Make Candice Patton have some beef with the writers so they leave her off the show. But regardless, I think that the show, it's fun, and some of the actors are great given good material. I remember Cisco, Carlos Valdez, when he was a main cast member, when he got stuff to do, my God, was he doing stuff, But you have a big cast, and you went as far as to split Daniel Panabaker into two different characters on screen now, which is the most jarring decision of all time. It's funny because if they have a wide shot, they're always completely separate because they had to film all of the extras and CGI it and all that stuff. It's great. I'm cross my fingers. I'm excited to have an extra show to watch to like laugh a little bit and to enjoy. And I'm gonna pick up Legends of Tomorrow pretty soon too, which is that is my go-to incredible show. For me, I think that show, that's the gold standard of campiness. So the CW has done it. Yeah. I hope that they look at Legends of Tomorrow and they're like, hey, Flash, let's do that.
I need to catch back up to Legends. Since we stopped reviewing it on the channel, I kind of fell off, but I do need to get back
After Ray Palmer left, I fell off. Because for me, he was like my... I have such a soft spot for... oh my God, now I'm forgetting his name. Incredible guy. Ray Palmer, Superman. What's his name? The actor's name.
I'm not the guy to ask for names.
Whoever he is, he's incredible. He's he's in a real life relationship with the woman who plays Nora Dark, which is why they're together in the show.
Oh, are they really?
That's why, yeah.
That explains why
they
chemistry
wrote the whole storyline to get to have them together on screen so they could spend more time together. And then they wrote them off against their will. That they were like, we think we want to shuffle cast members, so they added them and they added more people and they removed them off the show, and that's why they've come back only like in Armageddon was the first time we've seen any of them in a while. And if you're wondering why was Damien Dark a part of it, I think it was because they needed to tie that all together with all of them being together again.
Right.
So, Brandon Routh.
Okay, I was going to say, I had a feeling it was Brandon something, but I also do not know names very well, so I wasn't going to say anything.
I remembered it. Michael Rosenbaum has this amazing podcast called Inside of You, and he's the actor who played Lex Luthor. And I, in my brain, saw the thumbnail of his episode of Brandon Routh. I saw his face, and I was like, what is this text? I was like trying to decipher it. But Brandon Routh, incredible actor. Glad we got him back. I talk too much when I'm on these episodes, guys. I'll get better at trimming this down a little bit.
Nah, dude, people love it. People love hearing all of our great stuff here at Absolutely Marvel in DC. But I feel like we covered most of the stuff. I do want to touch on one last thing before we fully wrap up. of the whole, what the hell are they doing with Iris on this whole, some things are like disappearing and she's having time skips and then all of a sudden has the time stopping powers evaporating from her eyes.
What the hell is that storyline? It literally makes no sense. For any of you guys watching who are confused about it too, we are equally confused. They did not tee this up. All of a sudden she goes, hey, mom, and fucking Dion comes out of the still force. Hey, mom and dad, what's going on with your time's all messed? Like, it's the dumbest storyline ever. I can't believe they're still having the children and the forces and all of that. But
yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to reference that because I was like, what is this?
Literally, this is the dumbest thing I've ever watched in my life. Candace Patton and her storyline as Iris West holds the show back.
It does.
Simply. And this is not, and I think more often than not, it like comes to a conversation of misogyny. And I'm like, I don't think she's a bad actress. I think she's legitimately given bad material and her character is too far gone. And there's nothing wrong with lacking charisma with your scene partner.
Yeah.
It's okay. Some people have it, some people don't. For every Emma Stone, Andrew Garfield romance on screen, you have a Grant Gustin, Candace Patton, where they're both tremendous actors. They're wonderfully talented, but they don't work together on screen. So when an entire show is based around their love affair, does it really work?
And you can tell you can also tell when these actors are like having those off days as well. Like, because you can tell their emotions definitely factor in. But anyway, I think that's a good spot for us to end here today. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching today. We are Absolutely Marvel in DC. He is Hassan. I am Dan. You can find him at Hassan Kader pretty much everywhere. Yep. You can find me at Fox Toast X on Twitch. And we'll catch you guys next time with more Flash. A lot of other stuff. We're going to be hitting that Halo show soon as well. So be sure to stick around for that. And we will catch you next time.